What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I am in an all new area to me, all new state to me actually. I am in Iowa. So I should be able to get a tag here in Iowa this coming hunting season. And I have been wanting to scout Iowa, wanting to shed hunt Iowa. Just never had a reason to do so because I didn't have a tag. That is all gonna change this fall. So I am boots on the ground, checking out some new areas. If I sound like I'm out of breath, I am. I've been hiking a little bit to get to this spot already and just came up a big old hill right here out of the creek bottom. Oh, and you can tell how steep it is. I just fell standing up. Cameras don't do anything justice to how steep some of these hills are. So after busting my butt, I'm gonna get to hiking, see if I can't find some sheds, but more importantly, find sign from the previous year. I wanna find where these bucks were running on a rut corridor. I wanna find rubs, maybe if I can find old scrapes. I wanna find tracks, trails, all the good stuff. I just came up out of a trail, out of this big creek bottom, so I'm gonna mark that on my maps, but just start hiking. So come along with me. Hopefully y'all enjoy this video. It's gonna be a fun one of scouting Iowa public ground. Here we go. Well, first horns found in Iowa. Down here is a crossing right here. Oh. I'm telling you, buddy. Steep and slick. It's like the ground is frozen underneath, but the top layer with the sun is just melting off. And I'm slipping and falling freaking everywhere. But first Iowa find, unfortunately, little deadhead. Just a young buck. Dang, this ground is slick. I'm gonna have to change at the truck before I get before I get back in the truck. Seen a couple rubs. Nothing substantial though. I haven't seen anything yet that's just like blowing my mind in terms of like deer sign. Which I kind of expected that where I'm at right now. There's a pocket that I'm trying to get back to that I think will be better because it's closer to ag fields on the private side. I'm just hiking through some of this like river ground stuff on the public, which is good ground, don't get me wrong, like incredible looking ground, but I can just tell the deer density is kind of low right here in this pocket. Need to get to the stuff that butts up next to the private farm fields, and I think we'll get into something. All right, guys, I found some pretty cool stuff in the last 10 minutes. Over here on this far ridge, this is a big south-facing slope, so I was walking that ridge looking for sheds or any late season crossings, bedding areas. And I got to the fence line, which is the private public boundary, and just glassed over to see if it was planted in anything. Was it CRP, whatever it was CRP. I went down in the bottom, I found a string of oak trees, huge oak trees, turkey feathers all underneath the oak trees as well as turkey signs, so pretty prominent roosting. So I marked that on the maps, then I came across and I crossed over onto this north facing hillside, and over here is a massive rub. I just glassed it up. I'm gonna go look at it, and I also just glassed a ladder stand that looks like it's been in the tree for quite some time. I'm quite sure they saw that rub. Maybe that's like a signpost rub or something like that, and they set up on it, but we're gonna go check it out ourselves, see what's going on over here. We have got a ladder stand that has grown into the tree pretty heavily, probably at least 4 or 5 years old. That up here on top of the hill, that is private ground boundary. Down here we got this big old rub. Look at that joker. I'd be surprised if there's not a camera here somewhere, but look at that rub. Oh my God. With the stand in the background. Big old joker. Where's the trail camera? There's gotta be a trail camera here somewhere. All right, something to note with this rub. So obviously tree stand in the background, disregard that. Somebody's been hunting this for the past couple of years, but there is a faint trail coming from down here right past this rub. It's kind of kicked out where they've been pushing on the tree and goes back up and loops up to the left. Now up top there is an ag field. It is private ground on that top border, but it is an ag field where these deer might be feeding. So to me, with the rub being on this side of the tree, meaning the downhill side. Okay, as you're coming up to the field, boom, hit the rub and goes up. To me, that indicates a PM rub. What I mean by that is the deer is bedding down here in this draw somewhere off one of these big fingers. When he comes up to feed at night, he's hitting this rub in the evening as he's headed to the field. He's not hitting it on the way back down to the bedding, otherwise it would be on this side of the tree, which it is not. It is on this side of the tree, headed straight up to that field. So that's the type of stuff I'm looking for when I'm scouting, is not only marking the rubs, but marking which side of the tree the rubs are on, why they're there, topography involved, everything involved. But yeah, anyway, if this guy hung this stand specifically for this rub, it's in an awful spot. The stand is directly on the trail. Definitely would want the stand off the trail a little ways, but maybe that stand was here before this rub was here. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna keep rolling, keep scouting. Found a big old scrape. It's hard to tell right there, but that is all kicked out. We got a big licking branch twirling around, so mark that on the map. This is a big flat of a ridge. It drops off hard on both north and south side, so sweet little pre-rut corridor, rut corridor. Buck can move down this ridge with winds coming up in an evening or something like that, or move up this ridge with winds in an evening. Sent checking for does, so great spot. Headed up this next ridge. I've covered, there's about 3 ridges that come off that side. Big old turkey foot of ridge. Funny because I glassed a big old group of turkeys working up that ridge, so very hilly country, which I like. We don't get a lot of this in Nebraska, but obviously Iowa has got quite a bit of different terrain, big diversity in terrain, and I really like topography. I feel like I can narrow things down a lot easier with topography rather than just big flat, you know, open fields, big flat bottoms. All right, I have done just under 3 miles to this point of hiking, scouting, looking, just trying to figure things out. There's really only 2 like solid spots that I've seen in all of this hiking where, you know, I would be excited to come back to. Oh my gosh, my eye, so sorry about that. This piece of property, for whatever reason, I'm just not like convinced that it's like piled up with deer right now, like where they're gonna shed. I didn't kick out a single deer this entire time. I think this is much more of an early season through the rut. But past that, I do not think this is a late season spot. I haven't seen like really any fresh sign. I've seen tons of sign, don't get me wrong, but nothing really fresh. So something to pinpoint for this season. I found a huge rub. Actually, I found 2 or 3 really big rubs, several smaller series of rubs, bunch of trail crossings, bunch of places of interest, but nothing where deer are going to be shedding. And not necessarily that I'm in here, you know, really looking for sheds. The scouting is the main factor right now, so I'm finding stuff that I like for this coming season, but I would like to find some sheds. So if I can, I want to get back to the truck before it gets dark and do some driving around and just glassing from the road, glassing some of this public ground, seeing if I can find any herds of deer on the public, see if I can figure out where they're hanging out right now, because right now is when they're going to be shedding. We got the goods though. We're going to be munching on this on the way back to the truck, get myself a little bit more energy. Back at the truck, just getting things pulled off, put away, and gonna start driving around doing some glassing from the road. If I do end up glassing anything good, I have also got my long lens with me, so hopefully I can get some footage there. But wanted to recap today's hike. I did 3.5 miles hiking around, just scouting mainly. I pretty much knew there wasn't going to be a whole lot of, you know, opportunity to pick up a shed. This is not stuff that I would consider to be like heavy usage during the late season, the terrain wise anyway. And there's no real big destination egg fields except for that one that was up on the public side. And I'm quite sure that's been getting stomped on by shed hunters and just people doing daily activities, running their dogs and stuff like that. So there's probably not a whole lot of deer bedding in stuff like that. I haven't seen a ton of recent sign on this property, but what I have seen and what I came in here to see and find is sign from the pre-rut and the rut. I've been able to pick this place apart very, very thoroughly and drop all the pins that I needed. I'm gonna be doing some more scouting throughout this postseason in order to lock in some new spots. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get out here this fall and be hunting Iowa. It's gonna be amazing. I've been wanting to have an Iowa tag for a very, very long time, and this year I should get the tag. So looking forward to it, guys. We're gonna start driving around and glassing, seeing if we can't pick up some deer and hopefully some bucks. If not, just some deer in general, and pin down some spots in order to shed hunt. Big old group of deer. I've seen like 15 groups like this since driving around. I just haven't had a spot where I can pull over and film. Got a nice quiet spot here filming. This is just sweet. All those deer out there. It is so refreshing and encouraging to see the deer numbers that are in Iowa. I don't see this too many other places. Like I say, I've seen probably 15 herds that size just driving around. One good buck. Couldn't get them on film, but one good buck, probably 150s. A lot of deer that are probably shed at this point, but I'm gonna keep driving, leave them be. Good morning, guys. It is quite a bit colder today than it was yesterday, but yesterday evening ended the day out with just driving around trying to find deer, glass them in the farm fields. And I found quite a few. Wasn't able to get them all on video, but I mean, I saw probably 150 head of deer in total, which is absolutely wild. Numbers are pretty good out here. So right now what I'm doing is I'm walking around and I'm doing some scouting on some public close to where I was yesterday, but this one is a bigger tract of timber ground. The other one was kind of more of like fingers that split up from the river. So anyway, just doing some more scouting. We've got a scrape right here on the edge of this field, big old licking branch. We're gonna put a pin on this scrape and keep moving. We're gonna cover some ground pretty quick today. I've only got about 2 hours to hike before I've got somewhere to be. So here we go. Hopefully we can get some intel on this piece. I'm gonna hike down to this bottom because what I'm looking for is sign from the previous season. And I'm looking for rubs, I'm looking for scrapes, I'm looking for crossings and big travel corridors. So one thing that I want to do is go down in this big bottom, drop down and see if there's any like real prominent trails. Well, I just came up out of this creek bottom here. I found a deadhead. Go check it out. Looks like a pretty good buck. I'm not sure what the regulations are in Iowa for deadheads. I'm pretty sure you have to get some type of salvage tag or call it in or something, so I'm gonna leave it here. But dang, it's a good buck on public. Oh yeah. Dang. Just barely a 10 point. Dude, that is a nice buck. Wonder if it's a broadhead somewhere or something. It looks old enough it could be from season. Maybe not that old. Coyote. Looks like a younger buck. 3.5-year-old at most. Oh man. Dang it. That's too bad. Oh, pretty buck. Man, you hate to see him like that. That is Iowa though, buddy. Incredible genetics for like, what I say, probably a 3.5-year-old buck. That's unfortunate, but also like good sign to know that there's deer in here. And like I say, this is probably a, I don't know, month or two old, could have been from season. Smaller hooves on it. Definitely a younger buck, but my gosh, what a pretty buck. Wonder where he, maybe he came down from this ridge. Makes the most sense. It's pretty thick going this way. There's some parts over there. My guess is he came down from this ridge and died here. Well, they were in here at one point. So right on the other side of that little ditch there is that deadhead, and I just came across this. Nice looking rub. Not a huge one, definitely small buck could have made a rub like this, but sweet rub. We got tines up here. Cool. Drop that on the maps. You can gain so much dang intel scouting postseason like this. It is really, really, really valuable. So if I'm hiking down in the bottom here, I can't see anything up on the hillside, but if I get about halfway up the hillside and glass down in the bottom as I'm hiking, I can gather a lot more information as well as see higher up on the ridge. But steep country, so I can get about halfway up this ridge and now I can see so much more down below me. Glass, figure out trails and routes, and also be able to see up here. So all right, I made a pretty good loop up top on the ridges. I found a ladder stand, I found a couple good scrapes, a couple of decent rubs, nothing crazy. The best sign I've found has been down in this creek bottom. So I am headed back down to the creek bottom to actually move all the way down towards the river. I've got about an hour before I gotta get back to the truck. I'm about 1.5 miles in on my hike, and I want to get a little bit more scouting down to the river, and then I'll head back. I found another deadhead. It's on this creek bottom. I don't know if it's EHD or what's going on down here. This is the second deadhead I found, but look how crazy this joker is. Young buck obviously, but big old dropper. Broken pedicle. That thing's gnarly, man. Huh. Alright guys, I'm headed back to the truck past that last deadhead in the creek bottom. I didn't really find a whole lot more sign. Couple small rubs, 1 or 2 scrapes, but nothing too crazy. There were right after that deadhead, there were 2 really, really good scrapes. But tagged those on the maps. I'm headed back to the truck. I've got some stuff I need to do today, and then I'm headed up to Minnesota. So appreciate y'all watching. This was a fun one, just doing a little bit of scouting in Iowa, dropping pins. I think in total I covered about 7 miles of ground. I had a really good hike today. I would say I speed hiked this one versus yesterday, and got a lot done, covered a lot of ground, didn't really stop moving the whole time other than to just stop and glass a few times and drop pins. But anyway, this was fun. If y'all enjoy this type of scouting video, let me know in the comments below. And if you want more informational videos, like more in depth of what I'm looking for, why I'm doing what I'm doing out here, pre-season scouting for whitetail, let me know. I'd love to make some videos like that for y'all. And here coming very soon, I will be in a better position to make videos for you guys like that, as I will be having some pretty big changes in my life happen, and it's gonna be better for everybody, especially you guys, in terms of how much content I'm gonna be able to put out. So I'll leave you with that cliffhanger. I appreciate y'all. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.